Welcome back to a further episode of Men's Inner Health with Mark Randall. In this conversation, I'd like to look at the concepts of mindsets, the negative mindset versus positive mindset. With the advent of positive psychology, Martin Seligman back in the day, psychology was always looking at the pathologies of our humanness. And, Martin Seligman, I think it was an experience with his young daughter. He then started looking at positive psychology. And with the development of positive psychology and the advent of social media, there's a lot more emphasis now on how do we develop a positive mindset over a negative mindset. Yeah, we can get positive mindsets by being, physically strong and eating well and exercising daily, but I'd have to admit, most of us human beings, unless we're addicted to the joys of exercise, we're a bit all or nothing. Yeah, when we're in the all, we're into positive mindset of it, exercising every day. But then in the nothing, we're not exercising every day, and we can glunk back into the negative mindset. I just want to introduce another mindset called heart mindset. That's right, heart mindset. To me, the heart mindset is the mindset, maybe it's the supreme mindset or a deeper mindset of the mindset that can hold, or the Zen mindset that can hold both the negative mindset and the positive mindset. That deep heart mindset. What happens when we experience those beautiful moments of love? That powerful connection of love. The connection of love to another. It's so powerful. How do we learn to connect to this mindset, this heart mindset within ourselves? What do we need to let go of? The first thing that comes to my mind that we need to let go of is the overthinking mindset. That overthinking mind of ours. Over and over and over and over. And a lot of times when we're overthinking, my belief is, and experience is, we've glunked back into or defaulted back to a negative mindset. Every time there's a negative mindset, there's an opposite, the positive. But do we believe that positive mindset when we're in the negative? No, we don't. Because the negative mindset's been so familiar. In the negative mindset, there's also the associated shames, the associated frustrations, the anger that we have at ourselves, the anger that we have at life, the anger that we have at the world. When we've had a life history of that, it ain't easy to just turn around and all of a sudden to have the positive mindset. Underneath the negative mindset, how much emotional hurt's sitting under there? How much emotional hurt have we accrued in a lifetime? Truckloads, potentially. And some people are very fortunate to have the optimistic mindset. In the negative mindset, the pessimistic. Now, the heartfelt mindset. How do we stop and connect to that? How do we connect to that deep, unconditional love that can energetically reside there in those moments? What a gift. How much can we just let go? How much deep connections to our spirit essence can we attain by learning to develop and deepening our heart mindset. The more we connect to our heart mindset, the more easier our positive mindset can flow. We can't be positive all the time. But instead of defaulting to our negative mindset because we're not in the positive, our ego is very much the duality. Right, wrong, black, white, good, bad, all that stuff. The heartfelt mindset, the heart mindset, deep down in our hearts, is an incredible reservoir of unconditional love of self, others, and all that is. Now imagine us men being able to connect to that deep inner essence, the divine masculinity, the spirit warrior. That spirit warrior has been trained from knee-high to grasshopper. How do we connect to that? Maybe that's that heartfelt mindset. His ego doesn't need to go out and win all the time. From that heart mindset, how much empathy, how much self-care, how much care of others, how much care of our community, how much care of the world will we have? I think we'd have bucket loads. Imagine us if we all could start to practice coming from a heart mindset. And the world does. There are times of nationwide catastrophes. The Boxing Day tsunami, and I've mentioned this before, the Boxing Day tsunami, those 12 boys that were caught in the caves in Thailand, and other catastrophes. The heart mindset, the compassion, the love, the empathy. The world just is covered with it. It's awash with this beautiful energy. And is that energy coming from our heart mindset? Possibly, potentially. Maybe it is. Or maybe it's just a positive mindset. I don't know. I just want to have this discussion. Just curious inquiry about this. Because the more we men begin to allow ourselves to drop into our hearts, the journey going into our hearts ain't an easy one, because we've not been taught how to do it properly. We've been taught, here, have a backhand, get over it, so move on. So there is a lot of old pains in there, and our relationships are going to bring that stuff out of the rabbit holes, and then we're going to react. And as I've said before, we can have shame around our vulnerability, and then we can have, when we're protecting that vulnerability with our anger, we can have shame around that. But the more we can begin to notice this, stop. Connect to your heart. Develop your heart mindset. And your heart mindset is going to hold all, the negative and the positive. The Zen. We can't always be feeling good. But from our heart mindset, it's okay when we're only travelling on 5 cylinders today. That's okay. We don't have to criticise ourselves for it. Just allow ourselves to be. Allow ourselves to flow in that space. The peacefulness of that space. The harmony of that space. Bring harmony to yourself. Connect to your heart mindset. Be gentle and enjoy.